All right, thank you all very much for joining us. This is the second of two virtual job fairs we've had today, March 16th. If you are looking for a job with the Indianapolis Department of Public Works, you are in the right spot. My name is Ben Easley. We have a lot of folks actually from the Department of Public Works and from the City of Indianapolis here. We hope to answer a lot of your questions and hope to pitch you on the idea of working with Team DPW in one of our exciting positions in our operations or our fleet services divisions. We'll do some introductions in a minute when we get started on the presentation, but I did just want to point out that there will be contact information for all of us, or for the people who can best triage your questions at the end of the presentation. And you can always, throughout this presentation, put questions in either the Q&A box or the chat box, and we will get those figured out for you, hopefully in real time, but certainly you can get in touch with us afterward as well. Just so that you're familiar with how WebEx works, it's not quite as ubiquitous as Zoom right now after a year in the pandemic, but there is both a chat and a Q&A function. Those are generally in the lower right-hand part of your screen if you're looking at WebEx. So make sure you click on the chat box and you'll see some information we've already put in there. And then there is that Q&A tab as well. That's where you can put your questions for our presenters to answer during this portion of the evening. I also do want to turn it over to Andre at the top to give a welcome to our Spanish speakers. Andre is going to be following along with the presentation to do a Spanish translation for us of each of the slides. And his information will also be available at the end, specifically for our Spanish speakers, if there's anything that he can help you with or point you in the right direction. So welcome, Andre.
Thank you, Ben. Buenas noches a todos. Mi nombre es Andrés Masonera y bienvenidos a la Feria de Trabajo y de Empleos del Departamento de Obras Públicas de Indianápolis, o DPW en sus siglas en inglés. Durante la noche de hoy estamos en la segunda de dos ferias de trabajo que se han realizado en el día de hoy para proveer información a la comunidad acerca de las diferentes oportunidades de empleo que hay con el Departamento de Obras Públicas de Indianápolis. En el día de noche de hoy nos acompañan varios representantes del Departamento de Obras Públicas que pueden contestar y ayudarles a completar su aplicación en línea. La aplicación de hoy será grabada en internet para referencia de aquellas personas que no puedan estar con nosotros hoy. Y será disponible entonces también en línea para ayudarles en cualquier duda o pregunta que usted necesite. Para aquellas personas que no estén familiarizadas con WebEx, hay dos opciones en el chat box, uno para escribir sus preguntas y uno que es el Q&A, que es para poder incluir sus preguntas y nosotros, el del equipo, le pueden contestar.
So now I'm going to introduce Tim Joyce. He is our Deputy Director of for Operations and Fleet Services. Yes, Tim, is that right? And he's going to take us through our presentation, starting with what does DPW do? And if you do want to introduce a few folks from your team, Tim, feel free to go ahead.
Thank you, Ben, and thank you, Andre. Welcome, everyone, to our, as Ben said, second virtual job fair of March 16, 2021. A day in advance, I want to wish everyone a happy St. Patrick's Day tomorrow, and also happy March Madness month to the whole city of Indianapolis. We'll talk a little bit about special activities and special events during this presentation. But before I actually get started, I'd like to say welcome also to Mr. Lacey Johnson, who's the administrator of our Stormwater Division of the Department of Public Works, as well as Ron Roten, who's the administrator of street operations here at the City of Indianapolis. If I have other colleagues on the line, they probably should speak up since I'm just familiar with seeing those two on my screen. Let me spend just a minute or two and talk about what does DPW do, and if you were interested in coming to work with us, what you might be doing. There are a few examples on the slide, as you can see. We do street sweeping. We do haul trash or waste. We do pave streets. We do have in our fleet services division both auto mechanics and heavy equipment mechanics. We have a forestry division, a stormwater maintenance that works with Mr. Johnson over there in stormwater. We have traffic electricians that would do what you would imagine they might do, which is work on traffic lights and keep traffic flowing throughout the city. More than 1,000 traffic lights in operation at any time. We do make all the street signs that you see throughout the thoroughfares of our city. Stop signs, information signs, yield signs, you name it. They're made right here at DPW. We do sidewalk maintenance, we mow grass, and yes, we plow snow and lots of other things that people sort of see every day, probably don't have any idea who's behind the scenes actually doing the work. But for the most part, if it happens in a public thoroughfare, it's done by a member of our team here at the Department of Public Works. So we're happy you're here tonight, and we're certainly grateful that you're considering the possibility of coming to work with us here at the Department of Public Works. Andre?
Gracias. El señor Tim Joyce es el director de suboperaciones del Departamento de Obras Públicas y él habló y también le dio la bienvenida al señor Lacey Johnson, administrador de alcantarillas, y al señor Ronnie Runton, administrador de operaciones. El señor Joyce lo que habló hace unos pocos segundos atrás es hablando de qué hace el Departamento de Obras Públicas. Trabajos de estos incluye la limpieza de la carretera, la recolección de basura, la reparación y mantenimiento de carreteras, y las exposiciones que ustedes pueden encontrar de las próximas que van a estar abiertas incluye mecánica automotriz, mecánica de equipo pesado, mantenimiento de forestal, mantenimiento de alcantarillas, electricistas sobre el tráfico, en el cual existen más de 10,000 señales de tráfico y semáforos, fabricantes de letreros y símbolos en la carretera, mantenimiento de las aceras y las personas que cortan los céspedes. Queremos darle la oportunidad a ustedes de darle las gracias por su interés en el Departamento de Obras Públicas y estamos ansiosos de ver sus aplicaciones y ver de cómo podemos ayudarle.
Hi, my name's Sarah Miller. I work for City of Indianapolis DPW Channel Maintenance. I have been working here for 10 years now. I just got vested. I started as an office assistant, and a couple years in, I moved on to be a laborer out in the field. And then from there, I got my CDLs through the city and became an MOT. From there, I kind of have evolved into doing all kinds of office functions and out in the field functions, from inventory to taking apart chainsaws and using chainsaws and learning to use other equipment like track loaders and loaders and just whatever equipment we have, I've gained to learn. So, it's a environment where they do encourage learning and encourage growing yourself. And working at the city, I've had a plethora of learning and classes / trade fair type things where I've got my forklift certification. I'm in the works of getting my TV truck certifications, hopefully, and chainsaw certification. There's all kinds of different equipment and learning curves, but if you're willing to enhance yourself, then it's great. There are numerous types of opportunities to receive overtime throughout the city, from once you get your CDLs, working in snow fight situations, or sometimes there's pothole blitz, or in our department, it's mostly storm cleanup or flooding maintenance. There's also special events where you get overtime, and just plenty of opportunities there, and that can help to pad your savings account. And you can also comp your time and get some extra time off throughout the year. Hi, my name's
So, as you can see from the video, our folks, majority of them work outdoors. It is something that I think that the vast majority of them thrive on. They like to be outside in the fresh air and the elements. Sometimes it's a little bruising with cold temperatures or hot temperatures, but they manage their activities very, very well. And by doing so, our residents, our neighbors, and our communities, frankly, are in a much higher quality of life than they otherwise would be. Whether it's collecting trash in the thoroughfare or it's cleaning the trees up with the chainsaws in the thoroughfares when the trees do come down from a windstorm, our folks are always there. And I really strongly feel that, you know, they enjoy the physical work and being outside. There is, as Sarah pointed out, a variety of types of work. And I think that whether someone starts in the office, as Sarah did, and works their way outside onto a stormwater team or a street maintenance crew, the opportunities present themselves for folks to move upward as they go along. Some folks ultimately leave their union positions and join management. There's also some crew leader kinds of positions that are opportunities to stay in the union, but to lead a team of workers in the field. So it is primarily outside work with some inside work. These two photos demonstrate obviously what a traffic signal crew is doing, working on traffic signals, while the person in the picture below that is someone making street signs, and that's obviously an inside job. Something that is more technical in nature, but is one that is still a skilled trade and one that is, I believe, challenging, but is something that someone feels comfortable doing after they've been at it for a while. So, Andre?
Como pudieron apreciar en el video anterior, los empleados del Departamento de Obras Públicas hacen la mayoría de su trabajo afuera en el aire libre. Esto es bajo condiciones adversas, ya sea el calor del verano o el frío del invierno. Pero gracias a su dedicación se puede hacer una diferencia en nuestra comunidad y en el vecindario, ya sea recogido de basura durante el verano o recogiendo y cortando árboles que han caído luego de una tormenta invernal para así ayudar a sus vecinos. Como también habló Sara en el video anterior, hay muchas oportunidades y variedades para avanzar en la administración y gestión. Aquellas personas que pueden comenzar en el trabajo de la unión y moviéndose después en posiciones de liderazgo y de manejamiento. Algunos de los trabajos que se puede observar, como en la foto en la parte superior, es trabajando con la unidad de tráfico y en la parte inferior trabajando con el departamento de señales.
I've been with the city for 19 years. It's a rewarding job. The retirement is there. The family time is there. Off weekends. I mean, you get to meet a lot of different people. The money, you be able to buy your home, you know, take care of your family. I mean, just enjoy, I mean, with doing solid waste, you be to enjoy, you know, your customers, changing of seasons. I mean, and it's a competitive job, especially trash. You know, it's a rhythm you get in, a pattern. And, I mean, you just enjoy, overall, you just enjoy yourself. So, I mean, 19 years, it's like started yesterday, has been so fun and rewarding and challenging at times, but you learn how to overcome, you know, breakdowns and different things. We got new trucks coming, but, you know, you work with what you have, just get the job done. Okay,
So that was Henry Hill, who's, as you may have come to appreciate there, has worked with our solid waste area and is now in his 19th year with the department. I want to share with you now positions that are open currently, and know that over the course of the coming weeks and a couple of months, there may be even more positions beyond the ones that are listed here this evening. But we do significant work in our fleet division, working on vehicles. Heavy equipment technician is open, and heavy equipment for IFD is open. If you note the picture in the bottom right, there is an individual from Fleet Services working there on a solid waste truck. And they obviously are never without work. And those positions are skilled and well compensated. There are maintenance operation techs, solid waste drivers like Henry, general auto technician that works on city and county vehicles, including police pursuit type of vehicles, general auto techs that do a variety of things like, tire repair and road maintenance for vehicles who are in the field when they break down, semi-skilled labor for both solid waste and for street operations, electricians in the area of traffic for doing things like you saw the picture earlier, heavy equipment operator, like the photograph on top of this slide, moving GM barriers around to block off places so that traffic is blocked from going in an area. And then, as I mentioned earlier, opportunities for people to work their way up into management if their interest is in leading the operations themselves. So there's numerous opportunities. Currently, we have, as you saw with Henry and with Sarah, 19 and 10 years respectively, we have numerous people about to reach their retirement. And thus we have a number of positions that are opening now. And so we need to fill those. But it's indicative of what we experience here, which is folks get here, they recognize an opportunity to make a career out of it, and they stay until such time as they're ready to be well compensated with a retirement plan that goes as a part of the benefits. So we hope you'll consider some of these positions and contemplate making applications as we move further in this program. Andre?
Como habló el señor Charles Henry Hill, que lleva 19 años con el Departamento de Obras Públicas, hay muchas oportunidades abiertas para los empleados y aquellas personas que están tratando de hacer una diferencia positiva en su comunidad. De las posiciones que hay abiertas ahora mismo, incluye el operador de equipos pesados, que se puede apreciar en la foto en la parte superior, que está moviendo las columnas para el cierre de carretera. Hay tecnólogos de equipo pesado y tecnólogos de equipo pesado para el Departamento de Bomberos. Hay técnicos de operaciones de mantenimiento, conductor de recogido de basura o residuos sólidos. También hay oportunidades para tecnología automotriz general que se puede apreciar en la parte inferior. Son aquellas personas que trabajan con el mantenimiento de la flota y vehículos de la ciudad. Hay electricistas que, como se pudo apreciar en la foto anterior, trabajan con las señales y semáforos de tráfico. Obreros semicualificados que trabajan con diferentes actividades y también, como se mencionó anteriormente, hay oportunidades para liderazgo en diferentes operaciones. Tanto Charles Henry, de 19 años, como Sara, que fue la persona que habló anteriormente, que lleva 10 años en la ciudad, hay muchas oportunidades para el trabajo y estas personas han estado trabajando por tantos años ya que han visto los beneficios y el cambio positivo que pueden hacer en sus comunidades. Muchas de estas personas están cerca de su retiro, por lo cual estas posiciones están abiertas y muchas más van a estar abiertas en el futuro. Les recordamos que es una gran oportunidad de empleo y que estas personas han aprovechado tanto el trabajo y han obtenido de ellos un buen retiro y buenos beneficios.
So one of the things that our department is most happy and proud of is our partnership with all of our colleagues who are members of the union. There are 2 unions represented, one at Fleet Services, one at the department's operations division. The operation is Local 725, the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, or AFSCME, Local 725. The other is Local 3131 of AFSCME, and that's the Fleet Services Union.
Hey, Tim.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to break in just real quick because I think Shauna is happy to speak on this slide if you want a more personal connection. Shauna, can we get your mic to make sure it's working?
Yes, can you hear me?
Absolutely, go ahead.
All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Shauna Quick Crowell, and I've been a leader at AFSCME Local 725 for over 20 years. This is a great, diverse place to work where you can start out as a laborer and work your way to the top. Union and management work hand in hand, making decisions daily. DPW is a 24-hour operation, and we communicate 24 hours a day to get the job done. Our partnership is like none other. So we hope you can come and join our team.
So some of the benefits that members of the union receive, as I mentioned earlier, there's a PERF retirement program, and all the wages are negotiated in the union agreement. There are premiums for shift and weekends, overtime pay, as I believe Sarah and Henry both mentioned, an early retirement program, again, negotiated. Employees are provided uniforms, boots, and other personal protective equipment. There is certification pay if an individual goes on and gets some form of additional credentialing, and they are compensated increased pay accordingly. There's pay for standby when we think there might be a weather incident, storm or otherwise, as well as callback pay for when something does occur and we need extra staff. There is additional opportunities for people to be trained in CDL driving skill, as well as for individuals who have had a substance abuse problem or potential conflict, a second chance with that drug program, as well as numerous other things that are negotiated in our union agreement. Andre?
Anteriormente habló la señora Shauna Quick de la unión AFSCME 725, que representa a los empleados que trabajan en el Departamento de Obras Públicas. Ella les quiere recordar que la unión trabaja en directa colaboración con el Departamento de Obras Públicas 24/7 al manejar los empleados, y también les recuerda que hay oportunidades de comenzar como empleado y obtener posición de liderazgo a largo tiempo. El Departamento de Obras Públicas, como mencioné anteriormente, tiene una relación fuerte con las uniones, especialmente con AFSCME 725, y los beneficios de estar siendo parte de la unión incluyen la jubilación de PERF, que es el retiro del estado de Indiana, la negociación de aumentos, tiempo también para obtener dinero adicional si se trabaja los fines de semana o en otros turnos, programa de jubilación anticipada para el retiro, también se le provee el pago de uniformes y botas. También se le da el pago de certificación y entrenamiento también para sacar la licencia de conducir de servicio comercial. Esta prestación también provee una oportunidad para aquellas personas que han utilizado drogas y que necesitan una segunda oportunidad para tener empleos.
So one of the things that people who work at DPW come to recognize immediately as we take safety as our first and foremost priority. Our individuals in a variety of positions are asked to do things out both in the elements as well as things that are not commonplace. And so it is imperative upon us to provide for them all the things that are critical in nature to keep them safe and healthy. Clearly, the last year has been a challenge for everyone. And we took the pandemic and have continued to take pandemic at the forefront of utmost importance, as is evident in this picture of our stormwater field investigators having a staff meeting, obviously socially distanced with masks on. This was taken a few months back, while in a garage is the way we operate. Everyone is required to sanitize equipment. And we shrunk down the size of some of our work crews so that they were allowed to be further social distance. We think that safety and health is critical for us to continue to provide the services that we do for the people. And obviously, our employees are the first value to us as an employer. Andre?
Gracias, Tim. Aunque sabemos que estamos en medio de la pandemia del COVID-19, queremos recordarles a ustedes las seguridades que está tomando el Departamento de Obras Públicas. Esto incluye el requerimiento de máscaras en cualquier instalación o ubicación del departamento o alrededor que cuando estas personas están con otros empleados. También se habla de la sanidad de los equipos al inicio y al final de cada turno. Y también se está hablando de los equipos más pequeños para garantizar que se sigan las órdenes de distanciamiento social. La importancia de la salud y la seguridad de nuestros empleados es importante, ya que esto nos ayuda a proveerle los servicios esenciales que requiere la comunidad de Indianápolis.
So let's spend just a second here on the things that people get to take home with them for actually doing a day of work. The positions that are listed now are compensated at between $18 and $23 per hour, depending upon the job and the skill set needed to take care of that responsibility. There is a full health insurance benefit that's available to employees and their families. There's a life insurance policy that's available to employees. There's a dental insurance, vision insurance. There is significant paid holidays. As you note here, 14 paid holidays. If an individual is asked to work on the paid holiday, they're receiving overtime pay beyond their normal rate of pay for working in that paid holiday status. There's a very healthy vacation leave, benefit leave, sick leave opportunities that again is something that people look forward to. They actually earn enough money that they're in a position to take vacations when the health situation allows itself, but adequate vacation time. And as mentioned earlier, we are responsible for uniforms, boots, tools, personal protective equipment, Carhartts for cold weather, gloves, masks, and all the above. So it's a healthy pay scale and benefit opportunities for people to clearly have a career here and ultimately, if they stay, to retire from here. Andre?
Gracias, Tim. Muchas de las preguntas que hay de aquellas personas que aplican para estos trabajos es acerca de los pagos y beneficios. Como hemos hablado, las posiciones que están disponibles ahora tienen una paga de 18 hasta $23 por hora, lo cual incluye un seguro de salud, una póliza de seguro de vida y también cuentan con seguro dental y seguro de visión. Otros beneficios también incluyen 14 días festivos ya pagados, con beneficios atractivos y vacaciones. También beneficios que incluyen para nuestros empleados es el costo de uniformes, botas y herramientas que se le provee a todos los empleados y también se le provee el equipo de protección personal ante el COVID-19.
So the reason we're here is to make you aware of what we do. And we hope now that you're interested in making an application or at least observing what the application process is like. The actual positions will be filled over the course of the next 4 to 8 weeks. I think it's, again, an opportunity that presents itself as a career opportunity way beyond just, I need a job. And we have, as Sean has said earlier, responsibility to the people of the city of Indianapolis 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And so we need adequate number of individuals working for us, as well as appropriately skilled individuals who are ready to do that work. And so if you're one of those people, and we hope that you are, we hope that you'll now take an opportunity to make application for one of the jobs you see listed. And if beyond that, you come back and you're ready to make an application for another job that you see posted, we would encourage you to come back often and look at what's available. Andre?
Gracias, Tim. Le exhortamos ahora de que apliquen a las diferentes oportunidades que hay de trabajo. Pueden hacer un clic en el enlace de la barra del chat para comenzar su aplicación ahora. Le recordamos que estas aplicaciones van a estar completadas entre 4 a 8 semanas. Ese es el tiempo que vamos a estar trabajando para poder llenar todas estas solicitudes y empleos y plazas. Como dijo la señora Shona, queremos recordar que los empleados del Departamento de Obras Públicas les es un deber el trabajar para la ciudad de Indianápolis para que ellos estén disponibles los 24 horas del día, los 7 días de la semana, los 365 días del año, para que nuestros residentes y vecinos de la ciudad de Indianápolis puedan operar y puedan seguir adelante. También les recordamos que estas diferentes aplicaciones y oportunidades de empleo van a estar disponibles en diferentes fases y que más oportunidades van a estar disponibles en el futuro, así que pueden aplicar a cualquier oportunidad que se les parezca atractiva a ustedes.
I'll break in here real quick just to say that we are coming to the end of our presentation portion. As you can see, we've got a few more frequently asked questions that we're going to touch on. But just as a reminder, feel free to use that Q&A portion in the bottom right hand of your screen if you have questions for our team. We really want to make sure that we get your questions answered today. Also, the link that has been mentioned a couple times, I think is the only thing in the chat box right now. So if you're an attendee, click on the chat button and you will see the link through to our website. It's not the city's website, but we've made a personalized website that will be, we hope, easier for you to navigate with some descriptions of the different positions. And then if you find the one that you like, click on that and it will link you through exactly to where you should start your application. So we've got a few more FAQs, Tim and Andre, and then hopefully we'll have some questions that we can answer for you before you get started on your application.
And real quick before we get back, you might want to put those links back on the chat for those who arrive later that might not be able to access those. Antes de movernos adelante, estamos llegando al final de esta presentación y vamos a estar discutiendo acerca de las preguntas más frecuentes de este programa. Les recordamos que la aplicación, tanto en español como en inglés, está disponible en el chat box para aquellas personas que puedan buscarlo y aplicarlo, lo cual los llevará a ustedes a una página que hemos creado especialmente para proveerles la información acerca de los empleos y las oportunidades que hay disponibles. Tim?
Thank you, Andre. Just a couple of questions here that come up frequently that we thought we would at least help you appreciate before you get too far into the application. First, you are required to be a Marion County resident in order to maintain full-time employment with the city. What that means, if you're currently living in the county, is you apply and you're eligible immediately. If you live out of the county, you apply and you're eligible immediately. However, if you get the job, after 180 days, you are required to have become a Marion County resident. So in order to apply, you can apply from the outside. In order to hold the position beyond 180 days as a full-time employee, you must become a county resident. So that's item one. Next question is about credentialing for operation of our equipment. Requires a B or entry kind of level CDL, hopefully leading to a classification for CDL, and the city and DPW would help you obtain those credentialings in order to operate equipment, as you saw Henry and Sarah mentioning, as she's working herself now toward getting a credential to operate the TV truck that runs the pipe TV for the stormwater area. Additionally, some positions you can achieve without a high school diploma or GED, but nearly every position requires a high school diploma or GED. All of those required credentials you will find at the bottom of the link when you go to access that particular link to look at the description of the job itself. I mentioned earlier that the positions are soon to be filled. That's why applications are being taken now. The process will engage once we have the applicants and once the interviews are set up. We do have a number of positions that will come open with retirements that we know are going to happen in a matter of 6 weeks. And so we're trying to build the pool of future skilled staff at this time. So make the application at this moment so that you're able to compete for those open positions that will come in the next 4 to 6 weeks. Beyond that, I would encourage again you to continue to look back. There are positions opening throughout the year, every year, because it's a large workforce, and we have a variety of people with skill sets that are sometimes not as easy to fill. Finally, as I mentioned earlier, this is for the most part outside work. If you are an auto mechanic, you're obviously for the most part inside. Some of the other positions, a few are inside, but for the most part, you're expected to be ready to go outside and work in sometimes snow, occasionally, rain, drizzle, wind, and a variety of other types of things that the weather can change on us while we're working. So it is outside work, and it can sometimes be a little bit challenging with the elements. So it's important to know that up front. Andre?
Gracias, Tim. Ahora vamos a hablar acerca de las preguntas más frecuentes que hay entre las personas que aplican para estos trabajos. La primera pregunta es si necesito ser residente del condado de Marion. Si usted aún no vive dentro del condado de Marion, usted debe de moverse o mudarse al condado dentro de los 180 días. Algunos requisitos que hay para el puesto incluyen tener una licencia de comercial para guiar clase B, ya que es útil y es necesaria para operar el equipo pesado del Departamento de Obras Públicas. Eso fue lo que pudimos ver en la presentación de Henry y Sara del equipo que ellos estaban trabajando y de lo que necesitan para hacer su trabajo. Algunas de las posiciones abiertas requieren un diploma de la escuela secundaria o un GED, pero no todos los puestos requieren eso, pero sí es preferiblemente tenerlos. Estos puestos se llenarán entre las próximas 4 o 6 semanas a partir de ahora, por lo cual exhortamos a todos los televidentes de visitar nuestra página web, ya que tendremos también nuevas posiciones disponibles para ellos. La última pregunta más común para todos aquellos es si hay que trabajar afuera en clima inclemente. Sí. Este departamento trabaja en el exterior muchas veces, trabajando en condiciones adversas, ya que requiere trabajar bajo la lluvia o bajo la nieve, ya que el trabajo hay que hacerse. Algunas de las posiciones que no incluye trabajar afuera incluyen los mecánicos, pero la mayoría de estos trabajos requiere el trabajar en el exterior, ya que hay que hacer el trabajo para la comunidad.
So, Ben, I'm going to pitch it to you to share with these folks on the line with us how to reach folks if they have questions about a variety of things. But I'm grateful to this team for putting these presentations together today. And I think that for those of you who are interested in working here at the department, you'll find not only these folks, but frankly, everyone as really interested and committed public servants who want to help our community get better. So thanks again to this team for putting this presentation together, Ben.
Absolutely. Thanks, Tim. Yeah, if it's any indication of how committed we are to Team DPW, I mean, we have something like 10 plus people here at nearly 6 p.m. on a Tuesday evening. So the folks on this call are, we're very much indebted to them for showing up and for being a part of the presentation this evening. If you do have questions, like I said, continue to put them in the chat box or the Q&A box. We'd be happy to take those in a minute. Like Tim said, we've got some contact info for you here. So if you think about something later, make sure to take down this contact information so you can get a hold of us in the future. This will also be on that job fair site that we've put together. So if you've already linked through to that, you can find it on the job fair site as well. But DPW related stuff, you can see at the top there. You can get in contact with me or my colleague, Hannah Scott Carter. Our emails are there at the top. We do best when we are connecting you to the information. So we will absolutely find the right person to answer the question that you have. For our Spanish speakers out there, feel free to get in touch with Jennifer or Andre. Andre is the one joining us tonight. Jennifer is also a part of our DPW team, and she's happy to help. For HR specific stuff or questions about the application, feel free to get in touch with Michelle or Jordan. You can see their email addresses there at the bottom. Jordan is actually a panelist with us this evening as well. So if there are any HR or application specific questions that you all have right now, we do have somebody on the line who is happy to answer that for you. I will say there was a question earlier. Oh, it was about whether or not a Spanish language translation would be available during the interview. And I thought that was a really good question. Jordan mentioned that it's kind of a case-by-case basis, but please feel free to apply, even if you think that that may be an issue, and we will make sure that the resources are available for you to go through the application process in a different language, depending on what the language needs are for the job itself. So I know that that was a question from earlier. Andre, do you want to do this section in Spanish, and then we will take any last questions from the chat box?
Of course, man. If I can move the next slide, please. Como dijo Timmy, como dijo Ben, el equipo de obras públicas está comprometido para ustedes y por eso es que en la noche de hoy, casi a las 6 de la noche, hay 10 personas de este departamento, todos unidos trabajando para ayudarle a usted a contestar sus preguntas y hacer ustedes el proceso de aplicación más fácil. Algunas de las personas que usted puede contactar con preguntas relacionadas al Departamento de Obras Públicas es el señor Ben Easley y la señora Hannah Scott Carter, el cual sus emails aparecen en la pantalla. Para preguntas en español pueden hablar con la señora Jennifer Domingo o con este servidor con nuestro correo electrónico también en la pantalla. Y algunas preguntas sobre la aplicación o preguntas relacionadas al Departamento de Recursos Humanos puede contactar con la señora Michelle Butler. El email aparece en pantalla, o el señor Jordan Rodríguez, que el email aparece en pantalla y puede contestarle sus preguntas en español. Una de las preguntas que tuvimos en la sección anterior fue acerca de que si es requerido hablar inglés para poder hacer el trabajo. Estas son cosas que se pueden evaluar en situación, dependiendo de qué requerimientos de lenguaje tenga el trabajo, pero no es requerimiento para poder aplicar y se le puede trabajar con un facilitador de recursos humanos para ayudarle a contestar su aplicación en su lenguaje nativo.
Great. So we are going to finish out the presentation portion of our meeting tonight, our job fair this evening. Thank you all so very much for coming. I don't see any questions in the Q&A or the chat, but I hope that you will get in touch with us if you have any of those in the future. Now, we hope that you will be able to start an application even as we continue to talk here. And you do have us all on the line if you would like to go ahead and do that. I'm going to shut the recording off, though, so we can get that started uploading to put on our site. And then for our attendees who are still with us, feel free to stick around, go through to that link, get started on an application. If you're going to do that, though, just flag us, put it in the chat that you're going to start that process, and we will hang around to help you with any questions you may have. Otherwise, if you're going to take it with you and apply on your own time, then we will see you later, and thank you so much for coming. One more toss over to you, Andre.
Sure. Queremos agradecer a todos por atender esta sesión de feria virtual de empleos del Departamento de Obras Públicas. Ahora a continuación vamos a darle oportunidades a aquellos televidentes de poder aplicar directamente el trabajo. Como les recordamos, la aplicación y la página web está disponible en el chat y también va a estar disponible la página en la cual pueden acceder y ver sus aplicaciones. De lo contrario, el equipo va a estar disponible por correo electrónico para contestarle sus preguntas y ayudarle también con la aplicación. Le queremos agradecer a todos y le deseamos una buena noche.